Hello everyone, Ryan here again with another uncomplication. I'm feeling a lot better about doing these more frequently, and today is going to be a big one. It's going to be a good one. I think you'll really enjoy it. I woke up this morning and made an entire outline for this video. I think it's going to be a summary of a lot of what I've learned so far, and I hope it's directly applicable. I also want to promote at the beginning, I still have this painting up for auction. As a lot of you know, I've been doing a ton of art, and this painting, it's one I'm really excited about. It is framed, so even in the picture here, it looks like it's just a piece of paper. It is in this nice floating frame, and it is a really cool image. It is inspired by some of the experiences I had when I was younger out in the desert. And this one experience in particular where I went from a quaking mess of anxiety to I don't know, a new kind of being that was a lot more understanding of how my emotions and experiences were related to the thoughts in my head, and that I had some control over that. So I will share that story a little bit deeper, maybe even at the end of this video. But for now, check the link in the description. You can go bid on this. And yeah, just because this is my chance to share with you what I've been up to before I get to the crypto stuff, um, I just want to show you. So the other night I did live painting. It was really cool. There was a live art or a live musician, and I was there in person. I did several paintings, all live, listening to the music. Sold it to this fine gentleman. And yeah, it was just a really cool opportunity to continue to flex this art muscle that I've been doing. So yeah, I'll put a link in the description also. You can follow me on Instagram and follow all of my cool art as it unfolds. That's at Thin Air. Okay, yeah, that's kind of my promotion. let's get to some thoughts. And I'm calling this video my crypto recovery, because we use that term a lot in crypto to talk about a recovery of price. So when things are down, a recovery is when we start to make our way back up. And this is true in markets, but it's also true in our lives. And as I look at this price chart, I always feel like I'm looking at this interesting timeline. And rather than it just being a flat timeline like a lot of us imagine in our heads, this has all of the peaks and valleys, and it's almost like an emotional roller coaster mapped to that timeline. And as many of you know who have been following this channel since that original viral video in May or April or March of 2021, I've been on a roller coaster. I think a lot of us have. And I have my own backstory as to why that is. I spent 10 years running a company, had a really bad breakup with it, and then was in all kinds of personal turmoil while trying to ride this roller coaster of crypto. And it got to a point where I just saw crypto as an abusive lover. I really did love crypto at a certain point early on, and then it just kicked the shit out of me. I didn't lose a ton of money. A lot of people on here, or some people on here, have speculated that I lost a ton of money and that's why I'm pissed off at crypto. And that's not the case at all. I made decent money. I'm the guy who was shouting from the rooftops that everything was going to turn around. So I sold here, and then I bought here, and then the one thing that pissed me off is I sold again. After that second distribution, I didn't see that next peak coming, so there was some frustration there. But really, my heartache with crypto is that I really believed, and I think that's why it hurts so much. I was getting ready for this video, and I was thinking about it was a couple weeks ago. I was driving back up to Fort Collins, and I was passing through Longmont, and I stopped at this little corner gas station, and it was fairly late at night, and this woman in front of me who was in dirty clothes, it looked like she was having a rough go of life anyway, and she was in front of me buying like 15 or more lottery tickets. And she's picking out this one, she's picking out that one. Oh, give me two of these, give me one of those. And she ended up spending like $30 or more on these lotto tickets. And, looking at her, it was really pretty obvious that that money could go towards a lot of other things. And here she is buying lotto tickets, and I don't think this was her first time doing that. They say that lotto tickets are a tax on the poor, and the reason that people buy lotto tickets is the same reason that crypto has such a compelling marketing position, because and this is speaking from my own experience, but when I came into crypto in 2021. I mean, I had bought crypto before that, but I really was fixated on it in 2021 because it seemed like this hopeful place where the governments, the corporations, the oppressors, all of the manipulators, all of that shit was not present, and I actually had a chance to take hold of my value, to take hold of my finances, and to put that into a place that was growing instead of some place that was sinking. And it was hope. I think crypto has offered for a lot of us hope that humans can find new and better ways to overturn the power structures that keep us down. And so the thing that I just want to impress here is that I got so upset at crypto, that abusive relationship, not just because it was difficult financially to go on that ride, but because it was so hard to lose that vision that I really believed in and I was a huge evangelist for. And I still think that there's some little golden threads, and on the long term, there's a lot of opportunity here, but it has to be seen for what it is in order to be dealt with reasonably and realistically. And for that woman who is buying the lotto tickets, what could be said to her to really make her understand? You could take that same amount of money and open, a savings account and just put that money away, and at the end of the month, you'd have all this cash. You could go out to dinner. You'd have way more money than you would have putting it into this, odds, a game where the odds are always rigged against you. Similar thing here. So when I'm talking about my recovery, this is both a financial, just like, getting my own life back on the rails. Because for a while I felt pretty off the rails after leaving my company and then going into the diaspora of crypto craziness. But I'm also talking about, in a way, a spiritual recovery. I'm not promoting any, Christian this, that, or the other. I'm just saying, for me and the way that I like to feel, there is a deeper connection. And that is also something that I've had to get back. That's just my own self-worth, my own self-love, the value that I hold outside of any numbers in my bank account or my crypto wallets or even what people think of me. I'm going to talk about that a little bit too. So bear with me. I think that this is going to be a good episode. And let's start with what I think is more important, is the bouncing back as a person. That spiritual bounce back, your spirit. You don't have to believe in X, Y, or Z, but the spirit that is you. I think that we can have a direct experience of when we are up and we are in our power and we are out and we're crushing it and we're connected to people, and when we feel really lost and hopeless and depressed and unmotivated. And so much of YouTube seems to be all of these talking heads, telling you about the perfect morning routine or how to crush your goals or this, that, or the other. None of that matters until there is a solid ground to push off of. Okay, time out. Quick interruption here before I launch into these specifics. It's important for me to share that my baseline belief is that you, just as you are enough, you are okay, you are acceptable, you are deserving of love, you are the full sum total pinnacle of evolution as it has come to sit in that chair that you are sitting in. And that is a very hard thing to internalize. especially for ourselves. It has been the hardest challenge of all for me to grant myself the same love and acceptance that I grant others. And I want to say before I get into any of this other stuff that that's where I'm coming from. It's that we are all where we are. We are all, when you zoom out of the chart, when you zoom out of the highs and the lows and just take it all as it it's it is okay. You are okay. There's nothing you need. There's nothing you need to change. You could literally die today. I had a friend who died in November of last year, just, overnight, instantly gone. And then all his accounts were settled. Everything he had ever done, every conversation, it was all there. It couldn't be changed. It couldn't have been altered in the future. And in a way, we are all in this present moment. I know this sounds the touchy-feely new agey stuff, but it is so true. And it is important to start there, because then it's not a game of should. You should be waking up earlier. You should be changing your habits. You should be getting a hold of your mind and controlling your dopamine and blah blah blah. It's not about you're wrong now, you need to get better. It's that you are fine however you are. And now it's your opportunity to do anything that you want. And that to me is subtle, but it's different. So everything that I'm saying is not because you need it. You don't need it. You don't need anything. You don't need any of this. You can sit and just be, and that is a beautiful way to be. What I am sharing is that for me personally, my trajectory, my artistic expression, my participation in life is in a specific direction that I feel deeply. And these are the things, the little pieces that have helped me get over the little stumbling blocks that were just putting me in a loop of feelings, a loop of emotions. And it was fine to be there. I wasn't failing. I wasn't a shitty person. There was no problem. It was my opportunity to accept myself as I was, find that rock bottom, push off of it, and then start acting, to start expressing in new ways. So, little different, but I just want to make that note. All right, back to the show. And so I just want to give you a few little pieces that I think are helpful if you're in a place of, I don't know, maybe you're already at a performance level that you like. Maybe you're really struggling with motivation. Maybe you're really struggling, again, with that rug being pulled out from underneath us of crypto being the way out. And now it's just another human trap that we're all stuck in. This dopamine understanding and the habits that we have, this was huge for me. I started to recognize that on a day-to-day basis, I kept feeling the same ways, and I was always doing the same things. So a lot of times I would have a morning where I felt really motivated, or I'd make a few steps in some direction, and then by the afternoon, I was just feeling fuzzy brained, and it was difficult for me to put another foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. And so I think it was from the Huberman Lab podcast that I got this sense that our dopamine is not so much our reward for doing something good or for getting some prize. It is a baseline that has a direct effect to our motivation. And so the things that I learned is that when you are artificially spiking your dopamine, and you can do that through alcohol, television, masturbation, comfort, and just being lazy, sleeping in, eating too much. So many things that we do artificially spike our dopamine, even caffeine, even a warm shower in the morning. When we are in that comfort, and I think this is the story of Western civilization, when we're in so much comfort, our dopamine floor gets raised such that as soon as you're not applying those stimulus, you come down below your baseline and you feel crappy. And you need things. You need coffee. You need cigarettes. You need a lot of rest and comfort in order to even feel a baseline that is comfortable. But the inverse is also true. So if you struggle and suffer and feel some pain, um, and this is what I did, I started waking up early. I've been doing morning pages from The Artist's Way, which is an awesome, awesome program, I guess. If you're a creative and you're trying to get back to your creative soul, it's a lot of why I've been painting and doing these things. So I've been waking up early. I've been taking cold showers. I've significantly cut back on my caffeine and my alcohol. And what it does is it's not just like, oh, I'm a good person. This is like me being awesome. Now I feel awesome. It's because when you take a cold shower, great example, you're actually bringing your dopamine floor down so that after that little bit of suffering, everything else in your day is additive. I think I might have shared this on this channel before. I had one day where I felt so good by the afternoon that I had like a salad that I had forgotten about in the fridge, and I ate this Brussels sprout, and I was like screaming in joy at how, or shouting in joy at how delicious this fucking Brussels sprout was. Crazy, right? But it's because my dopamine floor was down so that these little things, senses and just everything are elevated. And I am a firm believer that there's nothing that we need and there's nothing that we're missing. We are all right where we belong. I deeply believe that we are right where we are. And that is not a call to pacifism. That is a recognition that once you realize that, once you take the monkey off your back, that you should be doing something differently or better or whatever, then I feel I can start to play. Then it is fun to start experimenting with these different habits and tactics and other things for just feeling better. But it's not because I have to or I need to or I should. It's just because I can. And I kicked myself. I was so verbally abusive to myself for a long time in this whole area just because I wasn't able to get my shit together. But as soon as I surrendered that and just let it go, then it became an opportunity to grow in my own time and my own pace for my own self-worth. And that's huge. So those habits, the other big part that I thought was really important to me was atomic habits. I watched this little condensed explainer video. I think it might have even been like a Blinkist style video on YouTube. Check it out, Atomic Habits. But that also helped me understand that, man, I'm feeling these ways every day, but I'm doing the same things. What am I actually doing? And the environment that I was in, like in that garage all the time, that cold, dark garage with no light, versus now I've cleaned up this whole front part of my room and I'm working here, or I'm working with other people. I changed my patterns and it changed how I feel. It's not that, oh, I'm shitty and I'm feeling shitty. It's that I'm in a place that evokes certain responses, these old triggers to my past business, just all of that stuff. I was able to see what those were and remove them and bring in other things that actually helped me feel good and stay focused and work on things. So the other big piece is a new story. So I was reflecting a lot on how much the stories I told myself were limiting and also part of those habits. My mind was always going back to this resentment for the assholes that kicked me out of my own company. It was going back to, heartache and these recent stories with my partner. It was going back to all of these things that were just reinforcing this image of myself as a loser and as a has been, or best days behind me, whatever. And the stories that we tell, we have direct editorial control over those, and we also have the ability to let pieces of them go. And there's also a great method, I guess, the Sedona method, which my friend Leah did to me without me even knowing what it was a couple times. But it's a method for helping release these things that we're holding. I might make a whole other video about that because it's pretty cool. But, welcoming exactly how we feel, not running from it, not hiding from it, letting those feelings be present, and then having that method of just releasing it also allows us to change our story, change our narratives, because at the end of the day, the real challenge in life is one of self-love, self-acceptance, all of these things that we're seeking outside affirmation. Maybe it's your crypto balance, maybe it's the relationship you're in, maybe it's, I don't know, your physical abilities or working out 3, 4, 5 times a week, whatever it might be. It's this external validation that when we remove it, it is it is very destabilizing. But if we are able to kind of maintain that narrative internally, then we're not reliant on those outside sources, and we can maintain strong even when we're getting kicked in the dick over and over again. Um, yeah, I'm eloquent. So the other part, is a bit of surrender, and there's a lot of things that I had very strong opinions on. This YouTube channel is one of them. Making crypto videos in this abusive relationship, that was part of it, and I felt sick a lot of the times after I'd release a video. I'd put all of my best thinking. I'd be putting all of these understandings that I even felt were almost dangerous in a way to be revealing how the manipulators work, how the market makers think, the story behind the main narrative. I felt that I just was continually exposing myself without any real purpose. I didn't have a purpose here. I felt good when people would say nice things about me, and I just kept coming back, because when you have a bunch of people show up on your YouTube channel, you're supposed to just apparently sell out, shill out, do that whole thing, which I still refuse to do. But there's a bit of surrender in saying, okay, I'm here, I have something to say. These are the things that I want to say. And I can just let that be, and I can let that go and go with it. And I can move that towards what I've really been struggling with, which is just finding a new purpose. And you can be purposeless. That's fine. I've been there a lot, and it's actually wonderful. I love going up in the hills and just sitting with no purpose other than to be present. So there's definitely a lot of value there. But in life, it's hard, for me at least, to get up every day without seeing some reason for me to be doing anything at all. And I think that I'm kind of on that track now. My art is a big part of that. My interactions with people, just this lifestyle of deep integrated connectedness is what I am really passionate about. And that is now pointing me in the directions of other artistic pursuits, businesses, etc. But all of these things, I think, come out of this place that I'm talking about, from hitting that baseline that you can actually put off or push off of. Sometimes you have to hit bottom before you can turn around direction. And right now, as Bitcoin is kind of wandering around, 16, 17, where is the bottom that we can push off of? This is exactly what it feels like to just be depressed and purposeless and meaningless and don't have a story, and everything that used to work isn't working anymore, and where are my friends? And there's a lot of time here that we just have to wander and kind of build up strength here. Maybe we'll have another little peak, and then it'll be another drop, but some point there will be a bottom where we have shed everything, we have let go of all of the baggage of the last cycle, and we're actually ready to tell a new story. And so I think that's where I've gotten to, and it's exciting. So let's talk about crypto now. I wanted to start with the personal stuff, because what is the point of talking about crypto if you're just seeking outside validation that you're going to go put your money in some 3-letter acronym, and then now your account balance is higher, and what, you're valuable as a person, you've done it? I have yet to see someone who is wealthy be happier than someone who is well. And I would always strive for wellness over wealth. And when the two come together, that's magical. So let's get into the second part. Here's my top lessons from crypto in the period that I've been deeply involved in it, invested in it, focused on it. So, okay, top lesson number 1 is that crypto is a game, and it's a rigged game. I'll say that again. It is a game, and it is rigged. And that was the heartache. That was the thing that was so crushing to learn, is that this is not just some magical, scarce asset that was created by, some maskless V for Vendetta, faceless V for Vendetta character, and it's going to liberate the world from the oppression of the corporations and the governments, yada yada. It might have started there. It doesn't matter. The people who have moved into this space and acquired this asset, set up the exchanges, made the markets, gave you the app that allowed you to buy your crypto at all, those interests are using crypto like poker chips. That's exactly what it is, to do the same types of market manipulations and motions that have always been present, whether it's a stock, whether it's a commodity, whether it's a collectible card game. It's the same logic. Nothing has value except what someone else will pay you for it. Bitcoin itself has no value. The only value Bitcoin has is in relation to a narrative, to a story about why it's valuable. And that's true of just about everything that I can think of. And that is disappointing, but it's also liberating in that if you can just understand it for what it is, it takes the mystery and the intensity and it just boils it down to a very simple cycle that has big magnitude moves and small magnitude moves. And Wyckoff is absolutely a cheat code to the whole thing. So go look up Richard Wyckoff. There's a great article. I'll put it in the description. It's the first one that I really read when I started researching him. And it is this notion that through the narrative itself, we can drive interest in something. And the cycle is always such that you have a period where you are accumulating it, or maybe you've even you created it. A lot of these projects, the owners of the project, maybe it's an NFT or it's a some little coin project, whatever, that has some slick marketing website. The point is someone owns this first and is able to sell it. And once they are able to do that, they have a cause, they have a reason for driving that narrative. And so what we're witnessing right now is this long protracted period of building the next cause that will have significant amplitude to get back up to all-time highs and excitement and fever, and everyone's grandma is talking about it and crypto.com is sponsoring the Super Bowl, yada yada yada. But that can't happen until we fill the pockets, or we fill the coffers, the stockpile of the people with the megaphones who can start the next cycle. And as I hear people talk about like, oh, well, maybe we are just going to have, this was enough of a accumulation and now we're just going to blast off and we're going to go to those plan B style scarcity driven values. But all I have to do is check my gut and say, this whole period was buoyed by money and interest that is just no longer there. It's not there because this came after a long enough period of that same accumulation. It came after a global dip in assets. It came with subsidized stimulus money. It came with people like Elon Musk and Tesla and others really calling for this being a lifeboat against inflation. There was an entire narrative here that was making people like me literally go and think about selling my car so that I could buy crypto. I was taking out my kids' college fund so I could buy crypto. I was using my home equity line of credit to buy crypto. I was madly, and I'm not alone, I was madly trying to get as much of my net worth into crypto as I could because I believed the marketing. I believed the story that was being told to me after inflation and a global depression and all the shit that's wrong with the world, and crypto being that story of what was going to fix it. That is just not here right now. It's not. I'm not feeling that way. Even if I saw crypto right now pop up to the level of 46,000, I would still be like, okay, show me the pudding, show me the proof. And let's see if that happens. I could very well be in a place where I have to reassess my thesis. I'm never going to come on here and pretend like I know everything. I'm just thinking critically from this premise that it's a game, it's a cycle, it's rigged. And I said this in the last video, and I think that this is totally true, is that if you are hearing about something that's for sale, a stock or a crypto or anything that has gone from rumor to news, you are too late. And that's in both directions. That's if you're hearing that this is doom and gloom and it's time to sell, it's too late to sell. You lost the chance to make a profit on that asset. You are now in that zone where people want you to sell so they can buy it at a discount, so they can over time accumulate. Now I've got this big stack, and now the price goes up, and now it's the time to buy crypto, and now it's going to save you from your debts, and it's the release. And I have no doubt in my mind that by the time we get to, let's go to the BLX, by the time we get to March of 2024, there will be some narrative that has fundamentally changed, where even someone like me is going to be sitting there looking at Bitcoin and saying, yeah, Bitcoin, that's where I want to be. That's the future. That's better than the failing US dollar or the China's war with this and that, or who knows what it's going to be. But I am predicting that there will be another time and place where I, even with all my knowledge, am feverishly thinking about selling my Jeep again. I think it will happen. And I think it's a narrative driven cycle. But ultimately, it is playing into the interests of those that understand it. And it's never going to be what the news is. It's always going to be this game. So it's cycles within cycles within cycles. These are happening on the long time frame. These are happening on the short time frame. And some people in the last comment was like, "Oh, the RSI is such a dumb indicator, blah blah blah." The RSI, I'm not sitting here like trying to time my trades based on the RSI. The RSI is just a very simple calculation that is showing basically on all time scales. I can look at the weekly, I can go back to my daily chart here, and I can look at just these overbought, oversold cycles. This is like the Wyckofffian heartbeat over and over and over. And if it goes up, it's got to come down on the big cycles and on the small cycles. And we can see that in the short term. So let's even look at monthly. So here are, month over month for Bitcoin going back to September 2024. Here's like this huge Wyckoff cycle of selling. And then here is an accumulation, and here's where we're selling, and here's an accumulation, and here's a distribution. And, this is the Bitcoin dominance. I'm sorry. Same thing though, as far as what the indicator will show you. But just so we're being fair here, let's look at the monthly Bitcoin. This only goes back to 2015, but once again, I just see the RSI as essentially that Wyckofffian wheel. And so here's where we were distributing, here's where we were accumulating. We had another distribution, accumulation, distribution, accumulation. That's on the monthly. Here's on the weekly. And I do not recommend or personally, trade off of indicators. I think that they are for looking at the past, these types of metrics, because you never know when it's at the top. Just because eventually it has to come down, it doesn't mean that it's going to tell you when it's going to come down. But anyway, cycles inside of cycles inside of cycles. And the RSI is just a simple way to see what those cycles look like, even on the 1 hour time frame. On the 1 hour time frame, we can still see these cycles of just, accumulation, distribution on a small scale and on a large scale. Okay, so next thing, and this is perfectly timed, the next big aha that I had in crypto is that influencers, experts, even the publications, the news outlets, the coin desks and all of those are not your friends. they're not your friends. I've made friends off of YouTube. I have some like dear close friends that I've met through YouTube, but we are not friends. I am here to serve my own interests. And fortunately for you on this channel, my interests I think are very upfront, and I am not like so many others here trying to make a living at this. And that's where you really got to be careful, because I'm not going to name names, but there's a lot of charlatans in this space who come on here with the guise of giving you information that's going to help you succeed. And that's what they're saying. That's what they're saying in their thumbnails and their, bug-eyed, stupid fucking pictures. They are pretty much across the board. The people that are posting on YouTube are doing that to fulfill their own ends. Mine is to auction an art piece, but a lot of others is to pump a coin that they've already got, or to get you to click on their referral line or referral links, or to get you to watch all of the ads. I've played with it just because people always tell me I'm a fool for not doing it, but I don't put ads in these videos, because as soon as my reason for making this video is to make you watch an ad, what do you think I'm going to put in this video? It's going to be more frequent. It's going to be toxic garbage. It's going to be all the clickbait stuff. It's a race to the bottom. But you have to know that when, these big names in the space are doing their show, they're not there to help you. They're there to help them. And it's exactly that noise, that static in the signal that made the most recent distribution cycle, the Wyckofffian distribution cycle, it made it a textbook diagram of Wyckoff's distribution, because there was so much power and influence in the Twitter sphere, in the news, in the influencers, that the emotions of the space were being bent day by day, minute by minute. And a lot of you probably remember, if you were in the bull run, the thumbnails were either glowing green, arrows to the future, we're all going to be rich, yada yada, or nuclear mushroom cloud warning, danger is at the end, blah blah blah, and just bending that emotion. That's exactly what this curve is showing, is a whole herd of people having their emotions bent and played with. So the biggest thing that I learned in crypto is to zoom out, to unplug, turn off that noise, stop watching all of those channels that on a daily basis are feeding you that fear and greed pill. That is the codependency. That is the abusive relationship. So many traders that I had seen in the crypto garden and other places were following these other people, buy and sell signals. What do I do next? Doing none of their own thinking, but just, again, codependent relationship. And at the end of the day, a lot of charlatans made a lot of money off of referral links, crappy marketing, promotion, and sponsorships, and who knows how many backdoor deals and insider trades and pump and dump and rug pulls and all that stuff. And for the masses, the audience, more harm than good was done. So see this as an abusive lover, and they need to get help, and you need to get yourself away. So your self-worth comes from inner sources. It doesn't come from your bank account balance. It doesn't come from your last trade. It doesn't come from your partner or YouTube or anywhere else. I think it comes from having the experience in your life of being awake and connected, and that your actions are coming from your own center. And I know I am such a misfit for this culture. I am an idealist. I am a lover of people. I believe in humans. And I think that even when shit gets ugly and manipulative and oppressive and all of these things, it's just the manure from which the magic grows. And that is what I am here for. That is what gets me up in the morning. That's what makes me excited, is to be that little magic creature on top of a pile of shit that is turning all this chaos and complexity into new ideas, new conversations, new images of art, and sharing that experience. And so from your own inner source can come the action of your life. And it comes when we surrender to what is, we welcome it and accept it exactly where we are, even if that means hitting bottom, absolute rock bottom. When you hit rock bottom, you've got a rock to push off of, and that's the best time to turn back around. It's the best time to invest in yourself is when you're at the bottom, because it's only up to go from there. And so, yeah, long episode, a lot of stuff. Go bid on this piece. This is part of my plan. I have a whole wall or 2 walls here in town that I'm displaying the pieces that I'm working on, and I'm really proud of them. I think it's really cool. I'm just gonna hold up a couple others. So here's this like cool fire flower thing that I did. Here's this, again, in this whole theme, a lot of my art is just trying to show the beautiful interconnectedness of energy and matter and life. And I don't know, I have a background in geology. I call myself a philosopher artist, and I'm just trying to put into images these deeper feelings that I have about life. So follow me on Instagram at thinair. Go check out this piece, and I will be making more prints and stuff available soon. I'm setting up like a whole art storefront kind of deal. That's what I got for you today. Long ranty video, but these are the ones that I actually enjoy making, so I'm going to keep doing it. And yeah, until next time, love and rockets, y'all. Cheers.